So contracts are made on mistrust. If you cancel from me, I will charge you some money. Contracts are made because there is a mutual agreement between two people, and yet they're not really sure if one will come on that side. But when you are in covenant with God, it means that God trusts you. And so you trust God enough to do what he says do. That means nobody should ask you to show up for you Sunday. Because you have a covenant with God. Which means that whether my mom or my dad stays home, I'm going to be in the house of God. Because I know that there's a word from the Lord to my life. I don't understand how you can sit at home on such a beautiful day that God has blessed you to see, and you know what God has commanded and told you to do, and yet you still sit as if you're doing God a favor by showing up. You're not doing God a favor by showing up. God is doing you a favor by giving you life. You're not doing God a favor because your mom is here. You're not doing God a favor because your dad is here. You're doing God a favor when you say, Lord, I'm here, I'm available to you. Use me and have your way. Here's a problem. The problem is, around verse 9, it says, on the morrow, as they went on their journey, Peter went up into the housetop to pray. We don't pray anymore. And because we don't pray anymore, we see a lot of issues that could have really been handled if we had prayed. He had a prayer life. And because he had a prayer life, he was only able to operate in the power of God because he actually knew God. Is it possible that we come week after week, Sunday after Sunday, Thursday after Thursday, and actually sit inside of here and don't really know God? He was able to pray only because he had a relationship that broke the confines of just being religious. It broke the confines of just going to church. But it meant that because he had a relationship, that he knew that he had to be in the Word every single day. It's a problem when the only time you actually open this thing up is on Sunday. And society today has commanded us and developed us and ingrained us that we only need to do certain practices every single day. So there's some things that we have routine for and other things that we just don't bother with. But whenever you are in a relationship with God, it means that your relationship with Him is not based on the person. It's not based on the phone call, which means that every now and then your Xbox has to go off. And every now and then you have to sign off on Facebook and you have to get in your connection with God and reach out to Him and pour out to Him. And that's what God is able to bless you. I know that we have developed this great mindset that we have to build greater things and greater ministries and greater buildings and everything bigger and better and attractional. But the only thing that the young people today really need is Jesus. Because he's missing from the church. He's missing from the church because we rather believe Bible over Bible. He's missing from the church because we have traded the authority of Scripture for works and finish. He's missing from the church. He was human. And verse 11 says, I'm moving so swiftly, that he saw the heavens open. He saw the heavens open. And then he began to receive a vision of all of these creatures that he had been trained for years were nasty. Because of his origin, because of where he was from, because of how he was raised and trained, he was taught the dietary law that you would find in the book of Leviticus. So he was a learned scholar. And he understood his religious practices. But what happens is, right there in that particular verse, you will find that's when God had to flip the script on him to let him know that the letter killeth, but the Spirit of God giveth life. Too many times jumped to the left. When you have to understand that law is given for prophetic instruction. But when it comes to the Spirit of God, there is no way in the world you can tell God who's good and who's bad. Because in reality, there is no difference between you and the person strung out on the cross. The only difference is the grace of God on your life. So Pastor D, I want to help you understand this. I'm going to help you understand this. He says to him, Peter, get up and eat it. Peter looks back and says, you must be trained. I've been trained that I cannot eat unclean things. He looks back at him and says, to you it may seem unclean. All right now. But to me, I've already cleansed it. Peter now has to have a paradigm shift. Because he had been taught and trained that he's not supposed to deal with certain people. Peter was stuck up. Because there were some folks he wasn't going to waste his time talking to. But what God was trying to get him to understand is, I cannot fully use you until you learn to love people who don't look like you. I have a question today. Are you able to look beyond people's fault and see the need? Are you able to look beyond what everybody else said, what society said, and know that even though they may seem like what they are right now, God is able to restore? Yes, he is. Somebody shout, yeah. So the Bible says that what God has cleaned, thou shalt not call common. And it was done 3 times. And so now Peter begins to get scared. And his vision now is challenged because he sees what God told him to do. And he sees reality. What I want you to understand today is that whenever you have fear, call faith. Whenever